Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to week one of our Midlife Glow Up series. So if you have found yourself here and you don't know me, welcome. I'm Kelly. I am a mom of two, just graduated one. I can see the other graduating kind of on the horizon now. So I'm a full-time working mom. I'm also a life coach and have a wellness business. And I am a 47-year-old breast cancer survivor. And so I know that a lot of us feel like we're maybe in this kind of transition period or on the verge of transition. Kids are growing up. Life at home looks different. Our bodies don't seem the same as they used to. Hormones are changing, right? So we are going to talk today about what you want for your next chapter. And then over the next 4 weeks, so I'm going to do this as a 4-week series. I'm going to do one video each week on Fridays at 11 a.m. Central, noon Eastern, on some type of midlife glow up topic. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll get into some things that maybe seem more fun and some links to favorites and some tangible things, but none of that is going to matter without today's topic first. So that's obviously why we are starting here, right? So I say often, if you've been here a while, you've probably heard me say this before, that one thing that I know for sure following my breast cancer journey is that God does not put us here to just live this life on default mode. We have one life here, and I know that I want to get every bit of adventure and love and joy and purpose out of this life here, and I'm guessing that you probably do too, because you are here watching, right? And I know that I can't do that if I'm not doing what I can to take the best care of myself, my body, my mind, my heart, right? So there's a lot happening in this like midlife. Let's just pause really quick and don't get in your head about this like midlife word, right? I did not used to love the word midlife, but at the end of the day, words are just words, right? They're only yucky words if we give them negative meaning. So like I said, I'm 47, so it's like, okay, hi, like hello, here I am, right? So don't get in your head if you don't love that word also. But it's a weird stage, right? Like kids are growing up and suddenly things don't look the way that they've looked for the last 18 or so years of our life. And we have more time to ourselves because we're not in the trenches with the littles anymore. And physically things are changing and don't look the same and don't feel the same. And so we're navigating, okay, how do I need to pivot because what used to work doesn't seem to work anymore, right? And I think it can be easy to feel a little bit lost and kind of give into the thought, even if it's a subconscious thought and we're not really recognizing it, that our best years are behind us, whether it's a thought about our body physically or creatively or professionally, right? And that's just not true. And so I am here to embrace my glow up era and also share that with you guys. And I think too, the season can feel a little bit disorienting, right? Because things aren't the way that they have been for this long period of our lives, but it's also incredibly full of so much potential. And that's really what our midlife glow up is about, is leaning into the possibility and choosing to intentionally create a life that you love and to grow on purpose in your life. So here's the thing. Spoiler alert. Kids will grow. Time will pass, right? These things are going to happen whether we want them to or not. And so it can either happen on default or it can happen with intention by our design for what we want. So today we're going to talk about creating belief in the potential for the things that you want for a new chapter, a new season in your life. And this can be whether you are navigating a new season now or you see that new season coming at you on the horizon, right? So this will be your best chapter yet. You have so much to offer. God has put gifts inside you and asks you to share them with the world. And you absolutely can be healthier now than you have in the past. So the question for today is, do you believe that? We have to start here. I know some of the other things are more fun. Like, we sometimes want to skip this stuff, right? And be like, no, just tell me what to do. But we have to start here, because if we don't believe that we can continue to be healthy, that we can continue to be full of energy and impact on the world, then we won't actually take the steps that we need to take in order to make it happen, right? Because why would we if we don't believe it? If we don't believe those things, then our brain is going to be like, listen, sister, let's just sit back. We don't believe that. That's not going to happen for us, right? That's not true. So then we're not going to do the things that we need to do. So it has to start here with, what do you believe about this next season? And we're going to work on cultivating that. So we have years of subconscious programming, and often so much of that is negative, right? These stories that we tell ourselves, and eventually somewhere along the way, we just started accepting them as truth. So maybe you have thought, it's too late for me to do that. I'm too busy, overwhelmed, tired, whatever, fill in the blank, right? Wanting more for my life is selfish. Been there, felt that one, right? I missed my chance. I don't even know who I am anymore. So many women that I talk to in this stage of life have that thought. Or, this is just my life or my body now. If you can relate to any of those thoughts, right? How do we feel when we have those thoughts? We feel pretty crappy about ourselves, right? We don't feel great about our future and our potential when we have those thoughts. And then what do we do from this place of feeling bad or feeling dismal or not hopeful about the future, right? Well, we're not getting off our butt and hitting the gym. We're not feeling creative and creating something that we want to share with the world, right? I don't know about you, but I probably eat some chips or make a cookie or shop online, like looking for that dopamine hit, right? Of this will make me feel better, or binge watch some Netflix, right? So instead of getting out there and choosing to live our life, we do these other things instead. Because why would we do that if we don't believe that those things are true, if we don't believe in the potential, right? So what if we reframe it in this next season of life? You have so many life experiences. Think about the life experience that you have that you didn't have 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? You've been through so many things that other women will also go through. You now probably have some space in your life, in your home, in your time that you didn't have before when you were in the trenches with the little people that were very needy, right? And you are exactly the right person for this. So, our brain always needs something to focus on. Its main jobs, three primitive main jobs of our brain, are seek pleasure, avoid pain / keep us safe, and conserve energy. So if you don't give your brain something to focus on, it will go to work looking for problems because it wants to keep us safe and try to solve problems, right? Recreating things from the past. Even if we already know whatever we were doing in the past didn't work, our brain would much rather do something it already knows, even if it's not serving us, even if it's not giving us a result that we want in our life, right? So we have to give our brains something to focus on, something that we choose, that we want to grow and cultivate in our lives. I am choosing right now 2 specific thoughts that I'm focusing on, and you don't have to, this doesn't have to be what you focus on, but it might be something that helps give you some inspiration. The 2 thoughts that I'm focusing on right now are that this next season will be my best, healthiest, strongest, and most purposeful season in life. And 2, that I'm living my dream life. Because we get so caught up in our brain looking for the problems, looking for what's wrong, right? That we can miss all of the beauty around us. And if we stop and think about 20 years ago, what we hoped for our life, I bet that we can find so much of that in this life that we have right now, right? So, really quick, let's take some of those things that we talked about earlier before I give you some things to continue to think on. So let's say this is a tool that I use with clients in coaching, and we call it the creation cycle. You may have seen it before. Some places also called the thought model. And this is the main idea. Let's see if I can get this in here, we can see it. This is the main idea that we're always having these thoughts in our head, right? And like I said earlier, thoughts are neutral. They don't have a feeling attached to them until we assign something to them, right? So our thoughts that we have create, this might be backwards for you guys, but they create how we feel. They create an emotion typically for us, right? And we always act out of our emotions. We take an action, or maybe we have inaction, right? Because of whatever emotion we're feeling. So if we take one of those things that I mentioned earlier, let's say it's too late for me to do that thing, right? Here I am, 47, no, too late for that. Okay, if I have that thought, it's just too late for me to do that. How do I feel when I'm having that thought? Well, I feel kind of disappointed. I feel kind of down, right? I certainly don't feel motivated and excited. And so what action am I gonna take if I'm feeling discouraged and down and left behind, right? Well, I'm not gonna take action on that thing because I've already decided that it's too late, right? So I'm feeling crummy. I'm not going to take action moving toward that goal. And then what happens? What is my outcome? Well, I don't do that thing, right? I just proved that thought true. It's too late for me because of how I felt and the action that resulted in, right? So what if instead I change that thought to, this is exactly the right time for me to do this. So then how do I feel when I'm thinking this is exactly the right time for me to do that thing that's always been on my heart? Well, now I feel excited and motivated. And then what am I going to do when I'm feeling excited and motivated? Now I'm going to start doing the things that I need to do to take action toward that step. And then what does that do? That proves that thought true, right? Because now I've been taking the action that I need to take in order to make that thing happen. So this is a tool that you can easily replicate with anything that's going on to help you figure out, what do I want to think? What do I want to feel? And that is always, always going to result in the action that we're taking and the results that we see in our life, right? Okay, so I'll get back on track now, but I wanted to share that with you. So it starts by you deciding what you want your next chapter to look like. Brainstorm it, write it down. There's so much value in writing things down, right? So who do you want to be in your next chapter? How do you want to show up for your life and the people around you in your next chapter? How do you want to feel? How do you want to mentally feel? How do you physically want to feel? How do you want to spend your time every day? What do you want your days, your weeks, your months to look like? What do you want to create in this next stage of life? What does your ideal day look like? And what do you want more of? And what do you want less of? I love that one. That's something that I actually like to do every year when I start a new year. What do you want more of in this season? And what do you want less of in this season? So I can come on here every week and share like the tips and the guidance and the things that are working and the favorites and the tools, right? But that will only be impactful for you if you have some idea of what it is you want for yourself. Otherwise, we don't know what to do with the tools that we're given, right? So, God has not put us here for this like hamster wheel kind of existence. And sometimes we're in a stage of life with little kids that it is hard to say, hold on, I'm going to have this time to create what I want for myself, right? But that's the gift that we're given when we're entering this kind of midlife stage with older kids. He's given you gifts that are meant to be shared with your neighbor, with the world, with the people around you. And sometimes we just have to choose to dust them off a little bit, right? So this week starts with you deciding, what do you want to believe about this next season of your life? You don't have to have it all figured out, right? This isn't about like mapping out every detail with accuracy. It's about deciding, what are you going to believe and what do you want for this next part of your journey? Because it's going to happen, right? And it's going to happen on default if you don't decide, what do you want that to look like? And I don't know about you, but I want to show up to my life and the people around me with energy and love and passion. So that's what I have for you today. If this is something that you are really ready to take to the next level in your life, I have 4 one-on-one coaching spots that I'm opening up for the summer. I would love to chat with you about what that looks like, so you can schedule a discovery call. The link for that is in my bio. And then join me back here next week. So we're going to talk about our healthiest self, how to feel our best, look our best next week. And the replays of all of these will be saved here on Instagram, or if you're watching this somewhere else, they'll be saved on YouTube. So share this video with someone in your life who is ready to embrace this next chapter, and then they can also follow me here in order to see the next few weeks as I share different things. So I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. Thank you for being here, and get to work this week deciding what you want and what you don't want for your next chapter.